This program has been brought to you thanks to the generous contributions of our patrons on Patreon. Your patronage is greatly appreciated. And for more content like this, be sure to check out the Modern Alchemist channel on Patreon. Greetings and welcome to the Modern Alchemist channel. I'm Aubrey Forrest, the Modern Alchemist, and this is Ask an Alchemist. Today on Ask an Alchemist, our topic is Kabbalah and mastering fear. This question comes from Marin, who writes and asks, Hi Aubrey, my question today is about fear. According to the scientists, when we are afraid, the lights in our brain are quasi-switched off. We lose our rational thinking and are limited to our reptilian brain. Fight, flight, or freeze. We either hurt someone, flee into addictions, or even develop an anxiety-depressive disorder. Can we learn from Kabbalah how to deal with fear? Good question. I can't say that Kabbalah has been instrumental in dealing with my own issues relating to fear, but I do have an observation that I found to be key to the necessary paradigm shift required to deal with fear. Here it is. Fear is the result of uncertainty. When we are certain of a thing, we are essentially fearless. When we begin to have doubts, our doubts provide themselves as the seedbeds to our fears, nurturing and nourishing them, making them stronger, larger, and more intimidating than can be seen when objectivity is applied. There are many people out there claiming that fear is the antithesis to love, but I disagree. Fear develops as a secondary cognitive process following a spot evaluation of a person, place, or thing, and then assessing potential danger, known or unknown. It is generally during that assessment that our ignorance is revealed, and our ignorance then cloaks itself in uncertainty, which is experienced as fear. What should I do? What will they do? What is going to happen next? All issues of clear uncertainty that then translate into that pit of the stomach feeling when you feel your lunch is either going to burst out one end or out the other, clear fight or flight response, or when you feel the dizziness and nauseousness that follows a full-on fear-anxiety attack. For myself, the only solution to this was not found in Kabbalah, although it could be suggested that the disciplines using Kabbalah could provide help, as we shall see later on, but in clear thinking and objective reason. As you noted, the response of fear is almost always irrational, the higher objective functions of the brain shutting down or turning off to allow our survival instincts to come to the fore. Remember, these instincts are designed to protect you. Withdrawing, flight, or aggressing, fight, are designed to protect you and allow you to be free of the current stimuli so that you can get back to thinking. This is not to say that this is always helpful, but it is helpful to know that you're not broken or messed up when you are afraid and feel like fighting or running, or both. You're just in another cognitive state that requires some navigation to handle in a more constructive or productive manner. For me, it always comes down to a quick self-check when I feel things are spinning out of control. I know that my higher functions have temporarily turned off, and I know that it is my will that will turn them back on again. So I turn them on. It has the same effect of going into that dark basement filled with cobwebs and the unknown hazards, and then hitting the lights and seeing what's really down there. Sure, the cobwebs are there, but now you can see them and any potential mess or hazard that could trip you up and cause you to fall. In the same sense, we need to be just conscious enough to turn our inner light back on and actually see what is there. This is the first and most critical act of courage and fearlessness, to turn on your inner light and see. It's like every scary movie ever made. The instant the monster is seen in full light, it's not so absolutely terrifying as it was in the dark. Yes, it's still a monster, but now it is contained in the light, defined by the light, and held in view by the light. The monster or the problem that has one so afraid is no longer everywhere, something that is ever a threat in the dark, but now localized, compartmentalized. I am here, that which I fear is there, and everywhere else is unaffected. That is always the truth of anything we fear, and knowing this helps us to understand our fight or flight instinct better. Our instinct is trying to provide a shortcut from where we are now to where the perceived danger isn't. And here is where Kabbalah comes to the rescue with some valuable concepts and definitions. Fight or flight resides on the pillar of severity and can be seen as sound-based, as that what is feared is not seen but often heard or felt, like the rustle in the brush of an unknown animal threat. This aspect ties it to the pillar by virtue of the nature of sound being tied to vibration. It also explains why when we enter into a place, we might say, "This place feels wrong. It has a bad vibe to it." All aspects tied to Saturn and the pillar of severity. When visualizing the world from this pillar, we rely on our inner imaging system to supply the light, and we see in our mind the nature of the threat, usually greatly exaggerated from reality because its physical vibration extends some distance from its actual physical location. Once light is cast into the mix, we are adding in the illumination that comes from the pillar of mercy, which then helps us to realistically define what it is that we are seeing and that it is in one place, not everywhere. Of course, revealing the beast in the light is only the first step toward higher consciousness. And for some, the sight of the beast will drive us even deeper into that fight or flight response. But the key is recognizing that you are now in another point of exchange where you can continue going deeper into unconsciousness and instinct, or you can climb out and start thinking. And with thinking, doing intelligently. I say intelligently because in fear there is no thought and little reason, only emotion leading to emotion-driven action. That in about 90% of the cases we experience this in the modern world is generally unproductive, requiring that we allow our higher mind, the objective self, to step in and provide counsel. Just remember, there is nothing wrong with being afraid or feeling a sense of fear. These senses are there to protect us and have done a great job of it for literally thousands of years. The difference is that we no longer live in a world in which these senses were honed, and we are finding that in the modern world, being driven by the objective self and objective reason can be far more productive. In the end, no matter how you look at it, fear is ever our response to uncertainty, our response to the unknown. And it is through the application of the light, inner and outer, that frees us from fear and contains it within known boundaries and definitions. Without sounding too corny, it is the light that sets us free from the bonds placed upon us in darkness by containing the darkness and revealing the object of our fear. Sure, there will always be a time that what we fear is justified, but then that fear transmutes from uncertainty to certainty. It is no longer a fear of everything in the dark that we can't see or don't understand. Now it is something that is visible, tangible, and manageable. Like FDR said so brilliantly, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself, meaning that the mental state of fear is what is debilitating, not the object of that fear. Time and again, we as the human race have proved that we are greater than our fears, and each time that we have, we've taken each other to greater and greater heights of consciousness and understanding. In the end, fear can be said to be one of our greatest teachers, for it reveals to us that which we need to focus upon next, and shows us the path necessary to master what may yet reside within the darkness of our hearts and minds. Great question, as always.